Hey guys, today we're going to talk about superfoods and are they really worth the hype and what they're all about? Should you even bother even taking them and what are the fancy words they use? ORAC, antioxidants. I think there's some is like FRAP. Is it called FRAP? DPPH is probably a more common one. If those words resonate to you, perhaps you want to stay tuned and learn a bit more about what they're all about. So essentially, we're in a time now where everyone's talking about the immune system and looking to improve and boost and grow it and make sure we're always strong and healthy, always ready to stop those evil, nasty things from taking advantage of our body when we're weak a bit. And there are so many ways to look at a good holistic health in terms of exercise, sleep patterns, and even how you handle and manage stress. And sometimes, a lot of times, you'll start to supplement this with products, vitamin Bs, vitamin Cs. Even the government says you should take vitamin C to help to prevent COVID in that sense, to boost that immune system. So there are many, many products out there on the market, and which is best and which is not, that is very subjective. So perhaps today we'll go through a few and you can probably get a better idea on how to select the ones, select the products which are more suitable for you. So foods that have high levels of desirable nutrients, they're linked to disease prevention. They're believed to provide several health benefits at the same time beyond just that nutritional value. And they're not cure-all foods, yeah. And where does this term come from? Well, it came from for me personally, it's a marketing term. And it was coined up in the early 20th century by the United Fruit Company in America, which are very, very famous for their bananas. So, maybe we're all stuck in this marketing hype, right? So the term popularly increased after being endorsed in medical journals, and physicians find that banana diets to treat conditions such as celiac disease and help to regulate diabetes was one of the big ways where this superfoods movement started to move, and that terminology started to happen. And this happened when gluten has not been really discovered yet as one of the big problems with celiac disease. So it's a lot of misinformation on the way, but you don't know what you know until you know it, right? So that's what happened in the 20th century, where the superfood word was termed up. And only in the 21st century, because of the speed of how information is consumed, like you consuming it now through the power of Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, there's so many platforms, right? And keyword driving major sales in the sense of how you as a consumer would search for products, it started to move even deeper and broader into have its own criteria beyond that of how that United Fruit Company was promoting it. And it affirms customers' pre-existing notions of a health food. So that's why it's used a fair bit. A lot of times, now superfoods have always been linked with high amounts of antioxidants. And what are these antioxidants? They're actually natural occurring compounds or molecules, and they can actually be a variety of things, from phenols to bioflavonoids and whatnot. And these are just fancy terms for these molecules, the type of molecules that you can find. But essentially what it is these molecules, whatever is present in that active, they will absorb in those free radicals because they're longing for them to come into them. And that's how they scavenge off the free radicals. And they're naturally occurring, they neutralize the free radicals in our body. And free radicals aren't always bad things, right? Free radicals are actually produced by our body, and naturally they're byproducts of energy production. But sometimes excessive amount of free radicals, when they're not managed well because of our health, our lifestyle, they can create a variety of problems, from deterioration of the eyes, joints, nerve brain damage, and whatnot. There's so many ways people are looking at it. Perhaps in the way they research it, it's even been linked to cancer because of the way free radicals are able to attack the DNA and stop it from replicating itself correctly in the right sequence. That perhaps could be a possibility in how that happens, right? So it is definitely something to look at, definitely something to really pay attention to. But the interesting part is there is no way to test it at home yourself, in the sense of What is my free radical level now? I don't know. If you take a blood plasma and test, yes, it's possible, but it's not like, I take that stick for diabetes and I prick my hand and get a bit of blood and check that. It doesn't exist yet. Maybe it does, we don't know. But in our perspective, because we deal with mangosteens, we know that xanthon's a group of them, and there are actually 40 different types: beta, gamma, alpha, and garcineon, and they're mega high polyphenols, which are really, really strong antioxidants. And when we started to compare these antioxidants to other products, we were breaking the numbers, and some of the numbers I did not even want to publish because they were so high, and I wanted to validate and ensure that these numbers are tried and true, right? So, some people just, well, it's a great number, we should market it, but we should really check because sometimes they are unreasonable, and definitely not always good idea to just put it out there and without doing your background checks. I think other common sources of antioxidants, vitamin C is actually a known antioxidant, and it's actually used in the lab and even in our lab as a set standard. We draw our standard curves using vitamin C when we do our antioxidant testing. So it is actually a very cheap way of buying it. I heard right now vitamin C is picking up in price. Everyone's consuming it more because of COVID. But definitely one to look at. You just eat oranges, apples, and fruits are a great way to get those antioxidants. If you're looking to boost, definitely take a supplement. You're not gonna lose out really, right? Just a few bucks, a few dollars here and there, and you spend it on your health. Why not? And I'm sure you'll feel better. You take those multivites or those supplements which have vitamin B complexes mixed with caffeine and vitamin C, so the body is ticking faster. You might feel a bit better. So some popular superfood ingredients high in antioxidants are the mangosteens. As I mentioned to you, they're about 1.5 times more antioxidants per gram compared to berries. You have to bear in mind that the mangosteen fruit itself, 20% of it's only edible, so it's actually a very expensive fruit in terms of edible portion of the fruit. Sometimes you see $6, a bundle. I don't know, is it 12? Last time it used to be sold by the kilo. Now it's sold by the individual pieces, right? So it's really changed times. A berry that has caught on trend a couple of years ago is acai. In Malaysia, a lot of people call it acai berry. And it's more than just the antioxidants. It contains a slurry of amino acids, 19 over, and many different types of antioxidant compounds. It also has a very interesting fraction of oil, which is really worthwhile to look at. It's a very oily berry. Another common one is the blueberry. Without a doubt, high in fiber, magnesium, and vitamin K, as well as antioxidants. Goji berries have been eaten throughout time and centuries by the Eastern people, and in Chinese culture, goji berries has been used in so many things. It's treatment for traditional medicine. They use it for like diabetes, high blood pressure, stuff like that. Soya, surprisingly, has high concentrations of isoflavones, and which are phytochemicals, and it's shown to help reduce LDL and may prevent age-related memory loss. I personally take a purified version of a soya extract called PS, or phosphatidylserine, and I believe, or maybe placebo-wise, it works in helping with my brain memory. I don't know, sometimes I always forget things, so I just take that supplement and I feel I can remember more stuff. If it works, it doesn't work, not too sure, but there's a bit of published research which shows it helps to maintain those synapses, the connection between the little cells in the brains. So that is phosphatidylserine. It's actually an extract of lecithin, and lecithin, to all the bakers out there and cooks, they use that to emulsify stuff. It could be an egg, or it could be a mayonnaise, or whatever. You want to stabilize it a bit more, and you'd add this lecithin inside. It's a great way to mix the oil in the water and keep it stable over a period of time. So by purifying it further, you can get something called PS, which is phosphatidylserine. So a bit of a little tip there for me in terms of my preferred vitamins and minerals that I take. Tea wise, yes, catechins. Catechins definitely are very good sources of antioxidants. The problem is they usually are accompanied by tannins. Tannins are not necessarily bad, but excessive amount of tannins tend to irritate the stomach and the bowel. So those very dark teas, black teas, tend to be very high in tannins. No doubt they kill a lot of bacteria. They also tend to irritate a lot of people's stomach lining. So something to really consider there when you're taking a lot of tea. Green tea as opposed to black tea, maybe you're not sure which one has the highest amount of caffeine. Well, the green tea has the highest amount of caffeine. In actual fact, sometimes green tea has more caffeine than even coffee when you brew it. So, you might ask yourself, I can't drink coffee, but I can take the green tea and I can't sleep. Then maybe it's the green tea that's keeping you up, right? So that's something to really keep in mind. The black tea, why it has a lower amount of caffeine is because it's been fermented, and that caffeine probably readily broken down over time. And it's been shown that the caffeine content in teas, it's one of the lowest is in the black teas. I love black tea as well, by the way. And they have many, many effects, anti-carcinogenic, anti-inflammation, anti-arthritic effects. Leafy green vegetables are also a great way to get those antioxidants. Kale and spinach. Pretty much any green color, any colors. Colors are responsible for a lot of these flavonoids and phenol compounds, and they are actually the sources of antioxidants. So it's what's given in nature, right? And the kale and spinach are high sources of A, C, and E vitamins and K. They have carotenoids, iron, magnesium, and potassium and calcium, and which are actually great micronutrients, which is a lot of times overlooked in our daily consumption. So you want to talk about, I have a lot of new customers coming on board this quarter that are talking about OEMing superfoods as immune boosters, and to boost that functionality. So there's many aspects and many ways to look at it. And a lot of times for this current week, we had a lot of new customers come in and they were asking about, how do I go about this? I want to make this product. You first need a very clear direction in terms of that price point you want and what you want to mirror or what you want to beat or be better at. So an example would be you take a product off the shelf and you say, oh, I like this product. I think it sells well. I did my market research. It's a great product, and I reckon I could beat this product. If I can get something similar or better, I can probably make some pretty good money out of it. And then you have to look into like what the ingredients you're looking at. As what we discussed earlier, you have the mangosteens, you have berries, you have goji, you have acai, you have vitamin C, and you have fibers. And why you want to add the fibers in any product? Well, it helps to increase the absorption of any compounds you have in the stomach, because that fiber sits there for quite a while, and that gives the body enough time to absorb more of the nutrients in whatever you're eating. So a good idea, and why fruits work so well, is when you eat the fruit whole, not the juices, right? The juices and the fruits are very different. When you eat the fruit, it comes with that fiber, and that fiber helps. No doubt, it helps to brush the gut and provide great stool. It helps with that constipation. It also helps the body absorb in all those antioxidant and nutrients more readily, as opposed to you drinking the juice. And I'll give you a very classic example. You buy that fruit juice drink in whatever carton and pack. I myself, guilty, I love drinking that stuff. It tastes really good. Orange juice is probably my favorite, along with mangosteen juice. So sometimes that stuff, they don't add that fiber in, and they don't add the fiber because fiber poses a few challenges. In the UHT pack, that pack where you rip off the plastic thing and you rip off the tab, when you add the fiber to it, it really screws up that heat exchange process. And what this process is it helps to sterilize the food and make it really clean. But that piece of equipment that they use has very, very small, thin pipes. And when you got that fiber in there, it's going to clog those pipes up, and it's going to really screw up your production, which is why a lot of juices on the market are actually, all that fiber has been taken out, and it's actually just, most of it's liquid. Liquid nutrients, for sure. It's got that vitamin C, it's got those phenols and all that. But of course, with that high temperature treatment one, and then that removal of the fiber, there is definitely a reduction in the macronutrient and micronutrient count when you consume the product, which is why sometimes when you're diabetic and you consume those juices, your diabetes shoots up, and that's without a doubt, because it does not have that fiber. And if you were to think about it, have you tried to eat one orange, and then when you squeeze one orange, you take one orange and you squeeze it into a cup? It's literally like half a cup. You don't get one cup. So technically, when you drink that juice, you're consuming 2 oranges, but without the fiber. So that's probably why that blood sugar is picking up. So if you have those issues, try to consume something with fiber or supplement it with a fiber. An insoluble fiber would be ideal. Psyllium husk and whatnot are great insoluble fibers there, and that helps you control what you should drink, in the sense of what your body can take. Your body is great at telling you when you reach your limit of consumption, right? The other considerations when making these superfoods, immune boosting products is number one is the consideration of the antioxidant value. What type of number are you looking at? And that's very driven by that cost factor that you have present. We can make products from 1 ringgit all the way to 3 to 4 ringgit. And you know, the range is massive in terms of how more effective or how much more antioxidants you can get per serving, especially when we're handling our extracts and whatnot, right? So it is something to look at for this quarter. It's picked up quite a lot. I've seen the inquiries. It is something that is what a lot of people are looking at, but they're looking at a much lower price entry point. They're looking at the ringgit $1 buck entry point to $1.50 with some of the Shazam done. You know, want the printed foil and the nice outer box and stuff. So it comes up to about $1.50. Definitely something for yourself if you are not an OEM person to really consider is to just consume more of these antioxidants and things to help boost your immune system. And you know, we can only do so much, right? To measure the temperature and check that blood oxygen in the finger to really try to prevent this crazy ass time of COVID. But you know, it all boils down to our own body and how we take care of it. So end of the day, we would need to take care of our own body in order to fight off this epidemic, right? Or this really terrible thing. So it's important to really keep that body, eat well and supplement it in any way you can possible. Take that vitamin C. It's cheap. It's good. I take that vitamin C too. You know, definitely something. It's part of my regime every morning. You know, and I stay at home. I don't really go out to work because of that SOP and stuff. And of course, it's a mess, you know, to do that. So, yes. So, to recap, some of the ingredients that are used to boost those superfruits or antioxidants, right? Mangosteens, the berry powders, the goji berry, the acai, and I think there's many others. The other day I was, you know, the blueberries. You know, there's so many of them, right? But you have to remember, whenever you approach anyone with your project on how to, when you want to OEM or make it, don't be driven or governed by just that price. You must be clear on asking, is it an extract? Is it a crude powder? How much of it? And what is the antioxidant level that you want to achieve? And these levels are governed a few ways. You can use TRAC, I think it's called track testing. DPPH testing is more common, or ORAC. I would suggest going with DPPH. The reason being is most of the extracts around on the market and products on the market do have some type of DPPH testing. Most people, even like us, we are able to perform that DPPH test for you as a service to our customers at a very base minimal charge, just to get the gauge and the feel to see what level you want your antioxidant level to be at. So that would also gauge roughly sometimes the quality of the product coming out, because as more polyphenols or more of these bioactives are added in, the higher the antioxidant will be. So that is actually a great way to see whether you're getting value for money. A lot of times when you buy these products, and they're quite expensive, these superfood extracts, they will tend to mix them in with fillers. And the reason being is, number one, when you process it to become a powder, you got to spray it out. You have to add a binding agent or a filler to it. So it might just be 2% berry powder for all you know, as opposed to you could get something around 50 to 80%. So that is something you really got to consider, because just because it's there in grammage does not mean how many percent of that real fruit is there present. So really to keep an eye out for that, because that will really govern the price. Of course, they give you less, it becomes cheaper, right? They're just selling you that maltodextrin or the modified sugar stuff, right? So that's why it's cheaper. So something to really think about. So I'm going to finish today. I got a lot of stuff to prepare for this coming week. We are still running the 1 ringgit campaign until end of the month. So if you have not received the advertorial or the messages that we've been sending out to our subscriber base and people who have inquired with us, just pop us a message below and we'll send it over to you. Spaces are really running out, so just send it in as soon as possible. The inquiries are big. There's a lot of inquiries about it, so definitely we feel we're going to produce something that that businesses want: a lower entry point and a much more affordable price. We've upgraded the package recently as well. You can get fully printed foil at additional 25 cents per sachet. a minimum run is about 5,000. So stay tuned for that, guys, and thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay at home if you can, clean those hands, make sure you hydrate those hands too. You clean it too much, it gets dry. So many problems nowadays, right? So stay safe, guys. Thanks for listening, and take care. Bye.